What's happening, people? It's the homie Smitster 400 coming at you straight off the Ave, and this is Smitster Reacts. Salute to all the subscribers. What's happening? How you doing? Welcome back. And if you made it to this video, go ahead and give us a like and subscribe. New content daily. So check it out, y'all. Judge Joe Brown. More Judge Joe Brown. The man is going off on Kamala Harris. He says she a bum. He says she's a bum. He also agrees with Trump on some things. Look, that might piss people off right there. But check it. Without further ado, shout out Art of Dialogue as always. Great content, great interviews. Look, Judge Joe Brown been going off on everybody and saying what he got to say. Look, sometimes like I feel like when you get to a certain point in life like he is, you just gonna keep it a bean. You ever see that old man in the hood that like just be, you feel what I'm saying? He might just go off on anybody, just say what's on his mind. Like I feel like that's where Judge Joe Brown is right now. But look, we finna get into this content, bro. Says Kamala Harris, whichever one you choose to use, right? Whichever, I don't know. She's a bum. In other words, he say she a bum. So look, let's get into this.
How you feel about Trump calling Kamala Harris a bum?
She is. She's one of those career prosecutors that suffers from character deficits. She's one
Yo, he be straight to it. She
of these people that has absolutely no connection with what the hell was going on. She wasn't a student at a time when there were opportunities, but she could have made some to go out and made a difference in her community that she claims, but she didn't. And her claim is a false one. So I don't appreciate her taking advantage of the situation. I think it is unfair to the people who she is making a false claim of identity with. And it also is not fair to the people she ought to be identifying with. See, we have a lot of Indians that have immigrated into the United States. They're fine people, but they've got one big problem, that is the transplantation of untouchability into America. That's the caste system. You may have somebody that's a multimillionaire that owns the company and the office building, and if he comes from the untouchable caste and somebody who's Indian does not, brushes up against the boss coming out of a conference, they have to go through a purification ritual. That kind of nonsense needs to have no place in the United States of America. So she's a Hindu, but yet she has done absolutely nothing to better the condition of the many Hindu or Sikh or other people from India, the Tamil Brahmins, caste, whatever. She's done absolutely nothing to make their condition better here in the United States except to grin about it. So
that's a pretty interesting stance because, you know, they always like to put her in the category of being black. You find what I'm saying? And speak about what she's doing for, you know, the black community, or like, you know what I'm saying, parade her as that. It's an interesting perspective to be like, look, she ain't really doing nothing for the Hindu. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty interesting.
she's not doing anything for us. She was essentially in California the #1 enemy for young black folk. So what has she done? And why should I emulate her or support her when on an objective basis, and I took a checklist, how many people did you help out? How many people did you condemn when you had the opportunity to deliver justice?
And that's something that people say, like, you know, the people of California, that's something that they say, like, you know, young black men out there, they not really feeling her like that because of her track record when it comes to, you know, how she ran things about that joint.
Inequity. How many did you do? How many did you do the opposite with? Got a whole lot. Oh, man. How many people on a certain side did you help exploit people? All of these folk that got jacked up with those crooked mortgages, who lost their homes, you didn't do a damn thing to help them out. You helped out the fat cats who were ripping them off, Soros and Mnuchin. You didn't help out my 3 neighbors who were losing their property. You didn't help out the other people who were in jeopardy of losing their property or got caught up in a trick bag that other counties had returned 5,200 indictment counts trying to protect them. You dismissed them, so somebody that's raising money for your political ambitions gets to sell the company for $4.2 billion. I could go on. I'll give you another illustration. It's kind of funny. What do they call somebody black mixed with somebody white?
Black.
Yeah. If somebody is black mixed with somebody that's Chinese, what do they call them?
Black.
Somebody's mixed with somebody that's Indian, what do they call them? Meaning Hindu type Indian.
They call them black.
But her people acknowledge she's a Hindu. So how do you beat the rule if you have the rule applied to you? That's because she's not. She's a fake. So what are you protecting? See, that's the question. And I'm not dissing AKAs. My own mother was an AKA. She pledged 1934. She's ivy behind the wall. She's been dead for a while. Loyal AKA for years, decades. I'm not bad-mouthing them, but I got a license to make a comment about it. It's like, you see, when somebody's down and has a poor or negative self-concept or perception, they'll seize on anything to make themselves look better. You can even take connection. Look at what was happening in Germany in the 1920s and 1930s. Germany only became a country in the 1870s. So they weren't even 50 years old in the 1920s. That's within the lifetime of a lot of people who weren't even as old as I am now, where Germany had become a country. You had a lot of pride. You just got your behind whipped in World War I, and you needed a scapegoat. You wanted something to identify with. Somebody started telling you about your glorious heritage, and you were dealt with as descendants of kings and queens. Sound familiar? Who ruled things, and they were blonde-haired, blue-eyed supermen, Aryans from the far north. Well, the problem is Aryans do exist. They're technically in anthropology known as Indo-Aryans, but they look like Kamala and her daddy, and they come from India. And they did have something to do with Germany. But you see, you told a lie, and people seized on it. If you listen to some of the woke folk, particularly black ones, they have shall we say, a revision of history to make identifications with certain groups that they think give them status. You know what I'm talking about, some of the things that are out there. That's the same thing they did with the Germans in the 1920s and 1930s. So what goes on when you do this, there is a tendency, black females particularly show this, to seize on something they can identify with, to give themselves a false pride. They already have enough to be proud of if they actualize their own potential. But they have not been raised, acculturated, and socialized to think that way. So you have to give them something that has the semblance of respectability that they can identify with. So they identify with Kamala Harris as a successful black woman. But Kamala Harris didn't particularly go to the first class undergrad school. The law school was the same. It wasn't like she busted her ass in all of these jury trials and she did what Johnny Cochran did back in the 60s when he was working at the DA's office and then when he got in private practice. It wasn't like she made these landmark cases, took these civil rights things up and made history with them. It wasn't like that. She screwed her way to the top through a series of paramours who helped her out. Anybody can do that. So you've got this subconscious thing by the black woman saying, I could do that. But on the other hand, I want to ignore that. And I want to say she got there by grace of her accomplishments. No, she has none. But you see, it's something to identify with. A sister got to be vice president of the United States. I'm black and I'm proud. Well, she's not black. She's not being proud of what you got conned. So why don't you just say, I just need to work hard and I will be able to look in the mirror and I don't need a Kamala Harris. I can look at myself and say, I'm that person. I'm that entity. I'm that kind of hero or heroine, see.
Look, man, shout out Judge Joe Brown, man. He be keeping it a beam with how he feel about things. You feel me? And like I said, a lot of people, when it comes to, her past and policies that she stood on, you know, they not rocking with her, bruh. They not rocking with her. He alleges that she, bopped her way to the top. Shout out Orlando Brown. You feel me? He alleging that she ain't really, she ain't got no credentials or nothing like that. Look, check it. I see a lot of people, they very emotional about this thing, bro. They very emotional. They arguing. Cats out here ready to throw hands. Ready to throw hands over this ish. You feel what I'm saying? Just to get their point across. It's wild. At the end of the day, y'all, please keep in mind that it's a two-headed dragon. I ain't finna go there, get all political. But look, don't let them hit you with the okey doke. They did it with Obama the first time. They tugged at the heartstrings, you know what I'm saying? They trying to do it again, trying to give people something to identify with. You feel me? Throw that black card up on there. It's wild, man. It's wild. But that's how they get you though. But check it. You made it to this point in the video. Go ahead, give us a like and subscribe. Shout out to the subscribers. We appreciate y'all. I appreciate you. Check it. Live streams. We getting it going. Sit tight. Like I said, we might have to work some things out. Zenti, she getting in position, doing some things. Dub, he doing what he doing. But they around. They around. And look, I'm holding it down. But check it. This has been Smitster Reacts. It's the homie Smitster 400. Like I said, thanks for tuning in. Y'all have a good one. Owie.